Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.
We're so thrilled to have on one of the founding members of Ricochet, lead singer, guitarist, he does it all. Heath Wright, thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here, buddy.
You know what? It's like I always think of, whenever I think of Ricochet, I always think about Daddy's Money.
Daddy's Money, that one has paid a lot of bills for us. And I'm sure paid a lot of bills for the three writers. Bob DePiro, Steve Seskin, and Mark D. Sanders wrote that.
So obviously the 30th anniversary of Ricochet, and also you have Ricochet, the album, the hits and more. Is the mullet going to come back? I think people want to know.
The mullet. First of all, it was a very popular haircut back then, all right? Very popular. And I had an award-winning mullet, not just a mullet.
Right.
You know, I don't think so. The hair that's not turning gray is turning loose. So probably no more mullets for me.
I'll tell you what, though. I mean, you know, what always wowed me about you, Heath, and with the whole band is the musicianship. You know, it's like, you know, with the harmonies and certainly with your playing, and the whole band was always so tight. And it's like, you guys, I mean, you won an ACM back in 1997. Not a bad thing.
Well, and you know, I still think back on that day with fond memories. That was the ACM 97 New Vocal Group or Duo. And we were nominated for 2 that night. We were also nominated for Vocal Group or Duo.
Right.
We lost that one to our friends at Sawyer Brown, but we were just so pleased. I mean, it was such a whirlwind year for us.
Yeah.
1996, we had our first #1 record with Daddy's Money.
Right.
And then I believe, this was back when the ACMs were still in Los Angeles instead of before they moved to Vegas. And so, you know, my first time in LA, you know, small town Oklahoma boy in the big city. I turned 30. I turned 30 that year. Yes, 97. I turned 30 that year, and I told all my friends, I said, I'm going to LA so I can be 29 2 hours longer.
That's a good way to do it. But especially when you get an award like that, and you and I were talking before we came in studio, to where when you have like a 6-member band, it's like everybody wants to say a little something.
True.
And the ACMs are like going, rushing, come on.
Wrap it up, yeah. So, and I even said that I was the first one to get to speak. I said, we all have something we'd like to say. We'll try to be brief. And I said my little piece. I thank my mom and dad for never asking me to get a real job. My buddy Greg got up and he got a little emotional during his speech. He called up his kids who were back here in Tennessee at the time. His youngest daughter, she was only like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old at the time.
Wow.
She said, Dad, guess what? Greg's like, what, honey? You won! You won!
It's like surprise.
Surprise,
like
Dad.
Yeah, we were up for 2. We won one of them. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'll tell you another thing, too, that I always enjoyed was on videos, seeing you with that Telecaster of yours. It's like, I always, you know, I'm a fan of Tellies.
I know.
And you had that one tricked out with the benders and all
I did.
from our buddy Joe Glazer.
That's right. Joe Glazer put double benders in it for me. And of course, I heard my first Diamond Rio record shortly after I moved to town. And I was like, how is he doing? How's Jimmy Olander getting all those weird sounds out of a guitar?
Right.
And it's this just mechanical thing where you can like pull down on your strap and the B string magically stretches to a C sharp.
Yep. And
you push out and you've got this little belt loop thing hooked to a lever, and your G automatically goes up to an A.
Right.
And so that's how Diamond Rio has that unique
I don't
sound,
know
you know?
how you and Jimmy play the double benders.
Well,
it's
his
like,
is set up opposite of mine.
But I still don't know how you guys do that. And I thought you guys were just getting into your guitar playing.
That's all
I
this.
thought, wow, those guys are really doing some acrobatics with those guitars. I didn't know you were double bending until Jimmy hands me his guitar, and I'm like going, oh my gosh, I do well to bend one.
Well, Jimmy's the master at that, and I try to mimic anything I see or hear him.
But you always did a great job of getting those pedal steel sounds with that.
Well, thank you very much for that. Now, I got to, you know, my mom told me to always tell the truth. I got to be honest. Those early records, I didn't play on them. Well, I got to play on the first album a little bit.
Yeah.
I played some acoustic on Seven Bridges Road. I did all acoustic on that.
Right.
But, you know, Nashville has a certain way of doing things, and they did back then anyway. So they would bring in the ringers to do the playing, but we at least got to sing. And there's some bands out there that can't even say that. You know, the lead singer would be the only guy that actually performed on the records. But we on this new album, I want to mention, we're playing every note. So it's all us. It's all Ricochet. First time you're going to actually get to hear Ricochet doing their own playing.
Right.
So every song, all 16 of them, it's us on every note.
Which is amazing, too, because you guys have had so many hits over the years. You know, besides Daddy's Money, which obviously still a favorite of mine. But, you know, to have 16 songs on there, you guys recorded them. Now, I heard rumor that you guys did acoustic versions of these.
We did.
Will those be released? Because I'm a fan of that, because you and I both know, you know, with songwriting, it's like a song really shines through if it can hold up acoustically.
True.
And you can really hear the lyrics.
A couple of days ago, we've been here in town for a few days now, and a couple of days ago we went into the studio to do some live videos. So we decided it was a good idea to just maybe do some acoustic. We took 8 of the songs, and I think 3 of them are the newer songs.
Yeah.
And then the other the other 5 are the hits, and a version of Star Spangled Banner as well.
Right.
So anyway, we decided to give them some acoustic treatment and kind of strip them down naked, as they say.
I can't wait to hear this.
Oh, it was a fun day. It really was. It was a long day, but we had so much fun cutting these, and they did hold up really well acoustically, I think.
And you're a monster on guitar.
Well, thank you,
I just
brother.
like watching you play. It's like because the whole time I'm thinking I might be able to steal that one lick. That's why it's like people always like, why are you watching the guitar player's hands? It's like because I'm trying to figure out how they're playing that one deal.
Which lick I'm going to steal? And that's all. I've made a career out of stealing other people's licks, mostly Jimmy O.
Yeah, which is not a bad one to steal from. Well, I wanted to bring up also with the new album, Ricochet, the hits and more. Also, you're working with a charity.
Yes, sir, we are. We just became aware of an organization called the Wounded Blue. Mm-hmm. Randy Sutton is the leader of that organization, based out of Las Vegas, Nevada, and we actually became aware of it back in April. They did a big George Jones tribute show out in Huntsville, Alabama, and it's called Still Playing Possum, and I've had the pleasure of being a part of that.
Wow.
Nancy Jones had heard about these 2 officers in Huntsville. One was killed in the line of duty, and the other one's critically injured. So she said, well, we need to do something for their families. She became aware of the Wounded Blue, and that's how I met Randy. Right. And we have decided to partner with them as well in conjunction with this new album release. What we're doing, if you go to adoptacop.com, and there's a link on there that you can click on. If you'll donate $20 or more to the Wounded Blue, we'll send you one of our new CDs.
How amazing. And what a great cause.
And yeah, it's a wonderful cause. I mean, the reason we get to live in safe communities is because of our LEOs, our law enforcement officers out there, so we got to support them.
Well, now let's talk about, in between, coming to Nashville and recording, out on tour again, this huge tour. I still can't believe 30th anniversary of Ricochet.
Man, you keep saying that.
I'm not sure.
Are we sure about that math? Let's see, 93. Yeah,
I'm gonna have to check with your publicist.
It's 30 years. I can't believe it either. If I'd have known that I'd still be singing these songs 30 years later, I would have recorded them in much lower keys.
But at least your hands are still doing it too.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah,
which is amazing.
I always said there's going to come a day when nobody wants to hear me sing anymore. Hopefully, I'll be able to get a job as someone's guitar player.
I'm sure of that. But also, you have a day job sometimes as a rancher.
Well,
third generation on the family ranch in Oklahoma.
Yes, sir. The Rockin' W Ranch is where I grew up, and my first audience was a herd of Pole Hereford cattle.
So and they're always attentive.
They are very attentive. I'm pretty sure they were just waiting on me to feed them, but kick out some hay. But I've been a rancher's son or a rancher my whole life. I was telling my son the other day, who will be the 4th generation rancher on that place, I said, there's going to come a time when I'll be able to leave this place on a tour or maybe a vacation and not have to worry about, if I get a call from a neighbor saying that your cows are in my garden again. That's
well, and let's be honest, Heath, that's where you're making all the big money. You're just doing Ricochet for fun.
Because there's so much money in ranching. Yes, there's. You know how you make $1 million in the ranching business?
How?
Start with $2 million.
But you love it.
I do love it, and my dad was a great rancher. He actually managed to put me through college with his day job, which wasn't. He was a heavy equipment operator for the Army Corps of Engineers, which didn't pay a lot, and so I didn't grow up privileged or anything like that. But I feel like I was privileged. I was privileged enough to grow up in that setting on that beautiful ranch that is still home. I moved back home in 2008, and I told the guys that helped me load in all my stuff. I said, guys, the next time y'all move me, you'll be moving me to the funeral home because I'm dying on this ranch right now.
But and also still be able to do the music with the band and everything. And, speaking of which, you're still endorsed by Wrangler because the shirts and everything are amazing.
They're a little bigger nowadays, but, I still wear a Wrangler, I love my partners out there at Wrangler. They've always kept me clothed in good, cool shirts and jeans. And so thanks, Kathy Tregay, and all the Wrangler folks. Long live Cowboys.
You know, but you changed up the guitars a little bit now. You're not touring with that Telly because I mean you lost it once.
Oh, I still take it on the road with me. I sleep with it now. I sleep with it in my bunk.
It's
but
like
yeah,
handcuffed to you, right?
I did. Well, one time I was loading up some equipment in my truck and put my amp back there and my pedal board, and I was in a big hurry because I was late for a rehearsal. I set my guitar, which was in a leather shoulder bag, on the side of my truck, and I said, well, I'm going to throw this in the front seat because I don't want to put it back here with all the other stuff. In a hurry, got in the cab of the truck and drove off and left it in. I was teaching music lessons at this music store in Salas, Oklahoma. Left it in the parking lot right there. And by the time I realized it and got turned around, went back, it was gone.
Wow.
So fast forward 3 or 4 years after that, I'm setting up at a casino, and I'd already had another guitar built to match that 67 Telly.
Right.
I'm setting up at a casino, and the sound tech comes up to me and says, aren't you that guy that lost that 67 Telecaster a while back? I said, yeah, thanks for reminding me. You know, he says, no, man, I think I know where it is. He says, a friend of mine owns a music store in Van Buren, Arkansas, and I believe he got a guitar in the other day from a private I'm sure it had gone through several different hands by that time. And he says it's got these weird string bender things on it, and he doesn't know what to do with them. So he said, if you know anybody that plays with these things, let me know. I've got a guitar for him. So I went and bought my own guitar back from him. So I bought that guitar twice.
Wow. It's almost like a marriage.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I did that twice, too, to the same woman. I married the same woman twice.
Well, there you go. See?
Yeah.
It's just like the Telly.
You're right.
But now you're going to be out on the road with your Godin, right?
I do have a Godin that I tour with. I just love the way it sounds, and they don't have sound holes, so you don't have to worry about feedback or anything like that. And every sound man I've ever worked with says that that's just the sweetest sounding acoustic they've ever heard. So, and it plays so easy because it looks like a Telecaster.
It does.
It feels like one too. I mean, it's just a great sounding acoustic. There was one part of our show where the guys leave the stage, and I just do a couple of songs, just me and my acoustic. And I just love the way it sounds too.
Well, and I got to ask you this then. Obviously, with the tour, with the new album out, and I hate to say 30th anniversary, but with Ricochet, the hits and more, do you guys think you might do an international tour? Maybe go across the pond even?
I wouldn't mind at all. Honestly, I've got to rack up those frequent flyer miles somehow. We've performed on USO tours many times in the past, and we love playing to our servicemen and women. So if there's another USO tour out, we'll do it. And
occasionally the Opry.
Occasionally the Opry. We played it last night, and I made my fiddle debut on the Opry last night. I'm a fiddle owner more than I'm a fiddle player. But the guy that I normally like to call is one of my old former bandmates, but he couldn't make it last night because his son was playing football, and he didn't want to miss. He was only going to see his son play twice this year because he's out on the road too. Yeah. And if he had missed last night, then that would have cut it back to one. And I wasn't going to do that. So I said, you know what? If the Opry stage needs some Heath Wright fiddle playing.
So you pulled a Charlie Daniels.
I pulled a Charlie Daniels. I was twirling my fiddle bow at one point, and I hit my microphone and it fell out of my hand. Fortunately, not into the front row, right there on the stage. But yes.
Then it was like it's like throwing a guitar pick, but it's like, wait, I need that bow.
I'm going to need that back. I'm going to need that back.
How amazing! So maybe some more Opry dates then too.
I hope so. Yeah, we played it back in October. This is the second time we've played it in recent years.
Yeah.
It had been 22 years since we stepped on that stage.
How amazing!
Back then, yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm so glad you guys are on the road. And I'll tell you what, you want to be sure and get the album. However you consume music, add it to your playlist. I hope it comes out on vinyl.
There is going to be a limited pressing on vinyl. 250 copies, they tell me, and it's a double album. The then part is the 6 old songs that we recut are going to be on a separate album from the 10 brand new songs.
That is amazing.
I can't wait. This will be the first time I've heard my music on vinyl.
Wow. And then you guys, I got to ask, are you already working on another album?
We already have one in the can, actually. It's the next one, the plan is to put a live album out for the next one. We recorded some live stuff back in Las Vegas during the National Finals Rodeo a few years back. Yeah. So we're going to utilize those recordings.
I'm so thankful that the cattle are paying for this.
Oh my goodness!
It's with without the ranch.
Without the ranch, yeah, I would probably live in a much bigger house without the ranch. The pandemic almost put us under, brother. I'm just saying.
Oh, I know.
Because the cows didn't know it was a pandemic. No, they still wanted their hay and their grain, and
they're still hungry.
Yeah, still hungry. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm thrilled that Ricochet is back on the road. Amazing album. You want to get this Ricochet, the hits and more, but mainly go see them live. Go to their website. Where should they go for the website and social media, Heath?
RicochetOnline.com. Now, when Shenandoah had spent some time off the road and broke up, we had the moniker of being the most misspelled band in country music. So Ricochet, if you don't feel bad if you don't know how to spell it, Ricochet, ricochetonline.com. Go check us out. Our tour page is on there, and also don't forget to go to adoptatop.com and donate to that cause.
I'll tell you what, it's a great cause, great band, incredible music. Heath Wright, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Such a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.